there is a difference of being in a place physically,
yes,
and being in a place spiritually.
all right, all right.
See, you can be in a hospital physically and still feel like you're on vacation spiritually.
All right.
Oh, you missed it.
right.
You can be on the other end of a divorce physically,
Yeah.
but you can still be married to something in your mind spiritually.
All right.
It's all about where you find yourself with and connected to God.
All right.
And he says these words that I can render words, Brother Curtis, of encouragement to people that are free, even though I'm in jail, because I know that although I'm locked up, my mind is not locked up against God. So he gives us, why does he do it? He does it because the church at Philippi, y'all, have gotten discouraged. They're free. He's in jail. But the reason why the people at Philippi are discouraged is because they are disappointed because their leader is locked up in jail.
All right.
Paul himself, if you read in Acts chapter 16, is the one that starts this church on his second missionary journey, and they have high favor for Paul. They love Paul. Paul is their pastor, but Paul goes on his third missionary journey to Rome, Sister Ruby, and when he goes to Rome and preaches the truth about Jesus Christ, he gets locked up because it's against the law to mention the name Jesus while you're living in Rome.
All right.
And they are discouraged because now their leader is locked up, watch this, for doing the work of the Lord.
All right.
I got to touch on that right there, and this may not be all that exciting to you, but you need to know, if you could get discouraged if you don't know this, that every now and then you need to understand that you will get in trouble while you are doing the work for the Lord, because folk will not like you because you preach the truth of Jesus Christ. Folk will mistreat you because you preach the truth of Jesus Christ, and Paul gets locked up for doing the work of the Lord. They're discouraged because he's in jail. But because they love Paul, secondly, they send a brother by the name of Epaphroditus. I know if you read it, you probably tried to pronounce his name. That's how you pronounce it. Epaphroditus is an elder in the church. And they have sent him there to see about Paul at prison while he's in Rome. And they have sent funds and food that Paul might have some leisure while he's locked up. But when Epaphroditus gets there, he brings what they send by him, but the brother gets sick while he's there tending to Paul. And when they get the news that the brother that they send has gotten sick to the point of death, they get discouraged all over again. So number one, our leader's in trouble because he's been doing the work of the Lord. He's locked up, and when we try to do the work of giving him some sense of encouragement by way of gifts and by way of support, the Negro that we send down there to take care of the pastor messed everything up and went down there and got sick. But in that like ministry, that it seems like every time you try to go forward and do something great and supportive to the work of the kingdom, it always seems like it's not working. But Paul said, I still got joy. Why? Because the brother got sick, but God healed his body. Second of all, I got locked up, and the very people that are responsible for keeping God on me, guess what? They got saved. So the enemy who was supposed to be holding me up became a friend, and now is supporting the work of the kingdom. Paul said it's so deep, y'all, and this is why I got joy. These folk that are supposed to be my God are now saved, and guess what? The Roman prison has shown me so much favor that I'm not in a dungeon like the rest of the prisoners. I got a house to myself, and every day folk from the Roman prison come and hear me preach, and lives are being changed day after day after day. You should have been shouting right there, because that lets you know even when the devil tries to stop you from doing what you're called to do, you'll always find a friend in the enemy camp. There's some people that know. I've seen adversity pop up in my life, but just when the devil thought he had me, God had another plan. on the chessboard of my life. He says, you got to have some joy. And he writes these words from jail. But the reason why I really want to know, Paul, why do you have joy? Why are you in jail?
All right.
I mean, come on, y'all. Let's think about it. If you got, I asked this in Bible study. Some of y'all wasn't here, so I'm asking you now. If you got locked up, when you know you were out simply preaching and doing good works, for if you got locked up today because you were out trying to minister, Sean, to sisters on your job, what would you do if you lost your job because you were telling folk about Jesus? Sister Ruby, what would you do if you were going about your apartment complex and you were sharing the good news of the gospel and you got robbed while you were telling the good news of Jesus? What would you do, y'all, if you've been out preaching and laboring and praying for folk and you've seen God heal other folk in their bodies from sickness, but when you go to the doctor and the doctor comes back to report, you find out you got cancer wrapped all up in your... What would you do when you get the bad news of the fact that you got to go and foreclose on your house when you've been sowing the financial seed in the lives of other people, seeding God, giving them financial breakthrough? What would you do when you're locked up in a jail-like situation like Paul?
All right. Amen.
So I had to ask him, Paul, how do you have joy? Why are you in jail? First of all, he said, Amos, the first reason why I got joy, because we had a conversation, he said, is because I have fervor in the faith.
All right.
Say that with me. I have fervor. That word fervor means that I have a passion. I have a strong desire. I have a strong, watch this, y'all. You'll hear this word over again, conviction about what I'm doing for the Lord. I said, where did you say that in this letter? He said, it's in the very first verse of the very first verse. He said, listen, I address myself at Paul. I like the fact that he does not call himself Pastor Paul or Bishop Paul. He simply says, I'm Paul. But if you need to know something about me, you don't need to know how many degrees I have, how much money I have, how much influence I have. But if I got to tell you one thing about me, I want you to know that I am a bond servant. Oh, some of y'all that was in Bible study should have been shouting right there. Bond servant literally means in the Greek, y'all, that I am a slave. I am a slave. He said, I am a slave, watch this figuratively, that is locked up in chains.
All right.
He said, not only, watch this, can I make it plain? Not only am I a physical prisoner, but I am a spiritual prisoner. Not only am I physically locked up, but I am spiritually locked up. They got me in these chains, in this Roman prison. And I got some room, but I can only go so far because I'm locked up in the physical. But God, He's got me in some chains too. And when I could run away, when I could quit, I can get so far, but I can't get too far because I'm wrapped up, tied up. Oh, y'all should have been with me right there. Tangled up in Jesus Christ. I can't let this thing go because there's a burning inside of me that no matter what comes my way, no matter what trouble I encounter, for Christ I live and for Christ I'll die. Can I tell you something? You can have joy when you got a fervor for God to know that I will let nothing separate me from the love of God. Whatever comes my way, I'm stuck, I'm settled, and I'm situated in this thing to say that I love God more than anything that I've experienced in this world. He says, I'm a slave, that I am willing, locked up, I am willing to still serve God, even though I'm in a storm-like situation. Now I watch, I'm fascinated with roots, y'all. I'm fascinated with roots, and you can find imagery